folks, welcome back to Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. I'm Rachel, and I'm here from Auxhart Gardening to do a tour of Scott Head's garden. This is my second time visiting Scott here in Houston. My grandparents live nearby, so I can come down and visit sometimes, and it's very cool to get to see his garden in person. And I do watch some of his garden tours. However, I don't know what everything is in the garden, and so today I'm going to attempt to give you guys a garden tour of Scott's garden from my perspective. It's a bit windy out here today, so bear with me if the audio isn't entirely perfect. I'm going to do my best to edit it down to just the non-windy parts. So I'm going to start here in the back corner of the garden with this raised bed over here. I actually don't know exactly what this is, but I'm going to guess that this is a berry of some sort, maybe a raspberry or blackberry. Either way, the flowers are looking absolutely beautiful. And over here we have some onions. It looks like red onions, white onions. These are getting very close. They've started to bulb up and they won't be ready to harvest for, it looks like, maybe at least another month. You'd want to wait until the tops flop over on onions before you went to harvest them. Right next to the onions is a citrus tree. I cannot remember what kind of citrus tree it is. Is it lemon? It might be lemon. At the end of the video, Scott's going to tell me how much of this I got right and how much of it I got absolutely wrong. Oh, I know what these are. These are strawberries. These are much farther along than my strawberries. Scott lives somewhere much warmer than me, so everything he has is ahead of my garden. Okay, so if we go to the first raised bed that he has over here, in front are some peppers. And I get to cheat because I think the names are right here. Ninja Bell and Flavor Burst Bell. Those are both probably sweet peppers because they're bells. And over here we have all of his tomatoes. They're actually looking really great, starting to put on their first fruit of the season already, which is wild because my tomatoes are still like 2 or 3 inches tall. I think these are some cherry tomatoes. And it looks like he's got it set up so he can trellis them up on top of this pole here. Wouldn't be a garden tour without Miss Phoebe. Hi! You're such a sweet girl. Down from the tomatoes are a few more peppers. These ones actually look really massive at this point. Let's see what kind they are. Mountain roaster pepper. That sounds delicious. And then down here he has some bushing squash, which I am going to guess are zucchinis because I know he's grown a lot of zucchinis before. And I think I see a baby zucchini down there. So that's going to be my guess for those. I think this whole video is going to be kind of interesting for Scott to watch because, you know, you see your garden through your own eyes all the time, and then seeing it through somebody else's perspective can make it look very different. Along the back fence here, he has some Muscadine grapes. I've seen these in here for several years, and I'm always amazed by how quickly they grow back. So turning around to the next row, this, I actually have no idea what this is. I don't recognize the leaves at all. I don't even have a guess for this. But next to it, some more peppers. And I'm pretty sure this is parsley. This is at least flat leaf parsley and perhaps curly leafed parsley of some sort. And in this bed it looks like more peppers and some beets, if I'm gonna guess. I don't remember. I probably should know these because I remember seeing him talk about them in one of his videos. But definitely peppers over here. And the mulching situation here is different. Probably to keep the weeds down. I know he has a lot of trouble with weeds like this in the garden. This looks very close to starting to make its first peppers. What kind are you? Jedi Jowl. That sounds cool. I haven't actually heard of that. I'd be really excited to see what kind of pepper that makes. So down here past those peppers are what look to be pole beans, because they are vining up here. And it looks like he's getting ready to trellis them here. Perhaps with the string system that he used last year. I don't actually remember how that turned out, but it's very different from how I trellis my beans, which is on very large cattle panels. All right, and if we move over to the third raised bed, these right here are little squash family babies, and I'm not sure, they might be cucumbers. And my other guess would be watermelon maybe for these, but they look planted far too close together for watermelon. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess cucumbers, especially because perhaps there's some trellising getting ready for them. Yet another pepper. If you guys watch the video that is coming out on Scott's channel, we did an interview where we both agreed that peppers are our very favorite thing to grow in the garden. Alright, so back there we saw some tomatoes, and those are going to be indeterminate tomatoes because of how he's set up the trellising for them. But over here we for sure have determinate tomatoes because he's put them in cages. And determinate tomatoes are, for those of you who don't know, determinate tomatoes are tomatoes that will grow up to a determined size, and then they will put on all their fruit at once. Whereas indeterminate tomatoes will keep growing and then continuing to put on fruit all the way up until they die. And so the trellising methods have to be quite different for those two very different growth habits. And down here at the end we have yet another squash that I don't quite recognize. And I don't see any babies either. Oh wait, yes I do. There's a little round baby in there. Still don't know what it is, but it looks like it's going to be very cute. We have another pepper in here. It's called Mount Roaster. It doesn't look super happy right now. Hopefully it'll perk up. At the end of this bed we have another tomato, another pepper here, and another plant that I literally don't recognize at all. I'm not sure, but underneath it is definitely a mint of some kind. Something in the mint family. Let's sniff it. Maybe it's a little lemony. Very nice. Okay, so he has another small raised bed over here by all the figs. And this is definitely oregano gone to seed. Flowering thyme. If you saw my last garden tour, I actually am starting to get little babyest flowers on my thyme. This is an onion that has gone to seed, and it looks like the seeds are just about ready to harvest right there. Some gorgeous rosemary, and this at the end, I'm pretty sure this is ginger, or at least something in the ginger family. If you follow Scott Head at all, you know he loves his figs. I could never go through here and try and identify all of the figs, but at least I know that they are figs. And I know he grows some really wonderful fruit on these trees. Alright, and lastly over here we have this raised bed at the end, which some of you may recognize is where I helped plant garlic back in October. And this is actually getting pretty close to ready. With garlic, you'll want to wait until it starts dying back, which this is, and so it must be pretty close to harvestable. This is flowering dill with a cute little bee pollinating it. And I think more garlic here on the end. Alright, and here is Scott, the owner of the garden that I just showed you guys. I know a lot of you have followed his channel and that's why you're here, but for any of my viewers who haven't seen Scott before, I definitely recommend you check out his videos. He's one of the reasons that I started getting into filming my garden. How much of this did I get right with the tour of your garden?
You did well. You got it like a 95A on the garden tour. I think you identified everything, at least in general. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, well, that makes me feel good. I've always been a straight A student.
That's awesome. So yeah, I think the only thing you missed was the elderberry and maybe some varieties of things. But yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for letting me come over, make a video, take over your garden for a little bit. It's really nice to come down and be able to visit.
Yeah, I think it's good when YouTubers work together, and yeah, I hope your garden just really thrives and your channel takes off.
Thank you so much. Until next time, happy gardening from both of us.